right, it's time for the VooDoo Chef podcast, where we will discuss all things voodoo from the VooDoo Studios located right here in beautiful Tampa, Florida. So to all my booties out there, if you're looking for nothing but a good time, this is the place to be. Call your friends, knock on the neighbor's door, and let them know it's time to party like a rock star for the next hour. Join me and my guests and learn to voodoo like we do as we discuss our faves and the voodoo that we use. I'll put our guests on the spot as we ask for their top 3, and make sure and listen as we discuss some of our favorite war stories from the kitchens we've worked in. Sit back, grab a tall glass of your favorite libation, and enjoy this episode of the VooDoo Chef podcast.
Big Eddie C, what is going on, my friend?
Hey, what's going on, man? Why you dressed like we're in fucking Antarctica over there?
Dude, it's cold in VooDoo Studios today, bro.
What?
I know normally we're out here like sweating, but it's a bit chilly out here, and I'm just gonna kick it rough. Speaking of our favorite libation,
That'll warm me up.
Watch this. Let me see if I can get the right one. All right, ready? Let's see if we can do this. Is that the right thing? I might have to ice it.
Look at that fancy schmancy desk.
Switch back. So we're trying to get some new setups going on here with VooDoo Studios. But some of our favorite libations, we are all about old number 7 here in VooDoo Studios, and we're just going to go ahead and get a little drink on right away. You got anything special over there for that pain, my friend?
Yeah, no, I'm drinking old number 20, age 20.
Oh, hey, let me go back to that other camera for a minute because I want to show you something. Freddie got a little twisted when
check that out, man. It's like a fancy schnazzy desk and shit. I love it. All right, I don't hear you. What the fuck's going on?
Suck. Now you can hear me.
Now I hear you.
Yeah, we'll quit playing with the stuff here. All right. Hey, let's get to business here. We want to make sure that we talk about voodoo, all things voodoo. Make sure you grab all your VooDoo Chef products at VooDooChef.com. A lot of good stuff happening with VooDoo Chef. I don't know, man. We got the VooDoo Chef High School Recipe Challenge coming. And behind that, we're going straight into Voodoo Underground. But can't forget, everybody out there this Saturday at Gasparilla's Children's Parade, make sure you look for us. We are going to be in full force. We're going to have Kitchen Killers playing on the float this year. We've got about 60 strong, going to be walking with the VooDoo Chef Foundation, celebrating student success. Hold up those signs that say VooDoo Chef, and just hold up those signs, those targets, and our guys are going to take care of you. We're going to throw out cookies this year, Big Eddie C. I think it's going to be pretty fun.
Cookies. Nice.
Not just cookies, though, Big Eddie C. Milk bar cookies from Christina Tosi, which is just like top notch. That's the best of the best.
Wow. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, I can't wait, man. It's gonna be just a great day.
I'm excited. I don't see myself being there yet. Too soon out of the old back surgery for that much walking. I shout out to my Lato peeps, Larissa McCoy, but man, walking around over there today, I haven't had my ass beat like that since 7th grade when I got caught picking on a fat girl in Catholic school.
and what was that all about, Big Eddie C?
Just being a rude little asshole. She was large and I was making elephant sounds going, so dude. I was a piece of shit. We've had that talk before, like when you were talking about the old split image days. One time you just said we were not good people.
Yeah. you know, moving on. As Eddie C would say, I'll just see myself out, right?
Yeah, there's
But you know, just a great day. A lot of good things happening. We talked about the parade. Unfortunately, you're still rehabbing. You're not going to be on the parade route with us. You're going to be missed, my friend, and I think you know that.
I definitely do want to be there, but it's funny because as I heal, I get like things in different parts of my body. So it's like right now the healing has worked its way into the middle of my hamstring. So it gets sore because it's like that nerve is still angry. Like the nerves get pissed off when you push them out of place, and they get pissed off when you push them back in place, basically. So right now, my left leg is still pissed off because at the rate that it's healing, it very slowly goes from back down to my foot, which is still kind of numb. And I got to tell you, I feel like I'm like 7 again, and I don't like shoes.
Isn't that horrible?
It's really fucked up. All I'm missing is like tearing off like toenails and stepping in rocks and having embedded in my foot from running around like a little Fort Pierce redneck kid.
Yeah, I was gonna say you call that the 7-year-old. We call that redneck, bro.
That's me. 7-year-old redneck. Now I'm just a 54-year-old redneck. So.
Some things never change, man. You can take the kid out of the Fort Pierce, but you can't take the Fort Pierce out of the kid.
No, I've tried. It doesn't work. No matter what I do, no matter how much education, how much I try not to talk like I'm from there, it just doesn't matter.
Not to talk like I'm from there. Hey, before we get too deep and before we start ranting here, if you like the VooDoo Chef podcast, make sure you throw the heart, throw the like, do whatever you want to do. Add us, slash us, doesn't matter. All the information flying across the bottom of the screen. Make sure you like and follow. You can follow VooDoo Chef on all social media at VooDoo Chef 13. You can hit up my personal page at Erik Youngs 13. You can also find us on YouTube at VooDoo Chef. Something new we got, Big Eddie C. Something special. Getting ahead of myself. Don't forget the halfway hangout, guys. Every Wednesday, I cook live. This week we are doing
what the hell is that in the comments, man?
What am I missing?
You don't even want to know, but you do want to know.
Did we get robbed? Did we get taken over?
Yeah, we got jacked, yo.
Yeah, you got to go, dude.
What the fuck? Not even going to repeat that for anybody out there.
I don't know how to delete it, Big Eddie. See?
You got me. I understand less about this than anybody else.
Yeah, you got to go. You're nothing but an asshole.
Wow.
You just got to go away. He's gone, man. You know what? I don't go there too often, but let me quote my boy Hollywood right here, man. Eat a bag of dicks, motherfucker. So Big Eddie C, let's go back to tomorrow night. All the cool shit that we do. We do the halfway hangout every Wednesday. I cook live. We moved it to 6:00. Make sure you turn in tomorrow night. We are making the Crest Burger. The Crest Burger is the burger that won the very first VooDoo Underground. It was created by students at Strawberry Crest High School, and that is where FOMO sauce originated. So we are going to be showing you how to make that in its entirety tomorrow on the Halfway Hangout. It's going to be a great day. And for all of you who love the Halfway Hangout, make sure you check out our brand new site, our Patreon site. It is patreon.com/VooDoo Chef 13. You'll find our recipes here. You'll find photos that you won't find on Facebook. You're going to find a whole bunch of cool stuff. And if you become one of our Patreon members, you're going to be eligible for giveaways. You're going to be eligible for seasoning of the month, where it'll just show up at your house. And some of you, depending on if you want to participate, will receive 15% off every VooDoo Chef sauce and seasoning purchase that you make. So check us out at patreon.VooDoo Chef, patreon.com/VooDoo Chef 13. Cool. Big Eddie C, I tend to get on my rants, and for some reason, I don't think I'm going to be too harsh today.
Oh,
We're going to be talking to some of our friends from Ybor City, and I cannot wait. But I started thinking about all the great times I've had in Ybor City, and Ybor City is such an amazing part of our town here.
yes.
But I went back to this one event that I had, and it just got me thinking. Sometimes kindness gets mistaken for weakness.
Yes, it does.
And it's when at times like that when I like to play Oprah Winfrey, and Oprah Winfrey says, "You get one, and you get one," but she passes out a lot of free stuff. I pass out some other free things, and we'll get to that in a minute. So I had a pretty good friend, right? And they were really involved with this dude who may or may not been the right fit, right? But me being the nice guy, I want to do everything I can to kind of, make this guy feel like part of the little friend group, right? So the ladies are all out doing their thing, whatever the fuck they're doing. I don't know. I don't care. I say, hey, let's let Johnny Jumpin' Jack come hang out with me. And so what do? I buy tickets to a concert down in Centro. Or, no, what's the name of that place? The Ritz, right?
The Ritz, yes.
So I buy tickets down to the Ritz to go see who? Ace Frehley. I mean, that's like church, right?
Yeah.
That's like church for me. And here I am inviting this guy into, a high holy place, right? So what we do, we go down, we hang out. He goes, hey, man, I'm going to go shoot some pool. I'm like, hey, I'm going down to the front row. So, we go our own separate ways. If you and I did that, and I believe we have done that at a couple shows where, hey, I'm going to go get a Jack, and you're like, I'm going to, whatever. It's just that unwritten, we're going to meet back up, right?
Right.
And, it's Ace Frehley. I ain't coming off that front row. And, what, we're 18, 19, 20, 21, 20. I don't even fucking know. So, show's over. I'm standing dead center of the Ritz, doing one of these, head on a swivel. Thought I was playing for Coach Darley Nelson again. Head on a swivel, man. Head on a swivel, right? And I'm just looking around like, where the fuck is this dude? Maybe he's waiting out front, right? So I walk out front. Now I'm standing on 7th, 11 o'clock at night. Looking around, where the fuck is this dude? Pre-cell phone. Payphone on the corner. Dig through my car. Go get some change out. I make the phone call. Hey, for some reason, did this cat make it home? Is he somewhere else? No, I don't know where he's at. No. I said, look, I'm going to wait here an hour. I'll call you back in an hour. I call back in an hour. Dude, now I got people yelling at me. What did you do? Now, granted, I could be that guy, right? I ain't gonna lie, I could be that guy. But dude, I got people yelling at me. I'm like, you know what? I didn't sign up for this shit. I'm just trying to make everybody feel included.
Yeah.
I go back to my car. I said, look, I'm going to go back to my car. I'm going to call you in another hour. Now I'm 2 o'clock in Ybor City, right?
Oh.
Ain't nobody there.
No.
Because it wasn't like it is now.
No.
I make another phone call. Now I don't even get answers. I go back and sit in my car, and all I'm thinking is, what if this guy shows up, right? Dude, I was a hobo. I woke up in my car at 6 a.m. I go home. and I make some phone calls, and guess what response I get now?
No, what now?
Oh, yeah, he got home about an hour after you called, and I'm like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. You motherfuckers. You motherfuckers. So, I had some great times in Ybor City. That wasn't one of them. And it just goes to show, fuck doing nice things for people. That night, I had to pass out some free fuck yous, Eddie C. I was like, you get a fuck you, you get a fuck you, you get a fuck. Dude, I can't tell you how pissed off I was, man. All because I was going to Ace Frehley anyway, and you and me are the same, man. In and out.
I'm there to watch the show.
We're there for the music, in and out. Yes, granted, we've been to some Ace Frehley shows where my bar tab may or may not have exceeded, $80 before the show. Yeah, that's when you do. That's when you do one of these. You just go, here you go, Eddie C. And we're all good, right? Eddie C, I think, has driven every single one of my vehicles because we're safe. But, I can't tell you the frustration when you try to reach out to somebody and do something like that. And where do people get the fucking audacity, Ed? Where do they get the audacity?
Dude, I don't know. I've given up on trying to explain why other people do what they do. I don't know.
Why can't everybody just be like me? We'd have a world of assholes. That's why.
We'd probably be fine. It'd be just a bunch of people drinking Jack Daniels and listening to Kiss. What the fuck's wrong with that?
I don't know. Apparently a lot, according to some people. But
I'm telling you.
Fuck all them people.
I'm telling you, it's one of my criteria. If you don't have respect for old Kiss, old AC/DC, and old Van Halen, tú eres muerto a mí, man. I can't have that, And you got to at least respect Bad Company and Motorhead, too. So,
absolutely. Dude, I got some great news. And, we got a great guest today. And, that's what got me spinning about Ybor City. And I just got to tell you, anybody out there, when someone's reaching out doing something cool for you or trying to, just do the right thing, man. Just throw them a thank you and fucking move on. Yeah. Move on. It's that easy. It's that easy. If you're just checking in, let us know where you're checking in from, what you're drinking. And it's going to be a great day. And yes, we know it was rather dark. We got some new lights, so we're going to be rocking and rolling at the Halfway Hangout this week. Make sure you're tuning in. Great guest this week, but I got to tell you, lock your calendars for this one. As my boy David Letterman would say, boys and girls, lock it in. As I say that, I have to open the calendar because I don't want to tell you wrong. I know you guys are here every week, but we've got a very special guest coming in on February the 15th. February the 15th. Lock it in. It is confirmed. Professional educator William Workman will be the guest that evening. And oh my goodness, are we going to tell some stories and have some fun?
Oh my goodness.
Oh, that's going to be just a great day. The official professional educator of an A school, William Workman, joining us for one night only. Man, that's going to be a day.
You're a hard man to find.
Absolutely, man. But when we capture them, it's like gold. It is like gold. Big Eddie C, before we get too buried here and we bring in our big guest, you got to give me some water cooler talk, homie. I don't watch news, I do read one paper. We'll get to that in a minute. I don't watch the news. I'm a reality TV junkie. I can't wait to watch the next episode of Chicken Guy, whatever the fuck it's called. They're giving away the restaurant. Or you and I talk about pointless Netflix series. I streamed 2 whole series over the weekend, just had it on in the background. You got to give me some real talking points. Dude, I'm hanging out with some important people tomorrow. I got to sound smart, man. Hook me up.
The usuals. Sports-wise, the Bucks won. They're going to play the Rams, LA Rams, on Sunday at 3. Going to be a tough game. They got some injuries, but, everybody's hurt this season, and you got to look at it like next man up. Lightning have been doing well. I'm hearing some behind-the-scenes talk that there's a lot of potential movement on a stadium in Ybor for the Rays.
Uh-oh.
I don't know any real specifics, but let's put it this way. That's one of those things where they can talk all they want about government and sunshine. No, I don't give a fuck. Leave me in the rain. I don't want to know because it's like sausage. I don't care how it's made. Give me fuck, fuck that. Food-wise, there's a new old place down by me. I haven't checked them out, not being mobile lately, but the old Potbellies
Right.
the people that owned it, they own one up in Tennessee, and they kind of retired up there just to run that one. But they sold this one, and it's now Heim's Breakfast House. It looks pretty good. Every time I drive by there, the place is packed as fuck in the morning. So, maybe eventually I'll make it down there to check it out. And, I'm hoping eventually to check out our friend Richard Hale's new place. He's doing a Chinese thing where Mom and Pop or Pop and Sons is.
Right. He went back to the concept that put him over, and I'm super, super stoked. I'm going to be seeing him this weekend. So, we'll get some more info on that. He is definitely going to be hanging out with us on the VooDoo float as we go down the parade route. So,
Cool.
Make sure you hold up those Richard Hale signs too for all our Voodies out there. Make sure you show the Hales family some love. Great days. I can't wait. It's just so much happening here in Tampa with food. We got a great guest today. I'm like super stoked. I don't know. Let's see something. Can you see this? I don't know. Yeah, look, you can see it here. Look here. Let's turn this off. This is how, look, I got my coffee, I got my tea, and I got my Jack, man. It's going to be just banging night.
Wow.
And you really can't see got my Flame Boss hat over here, man. We're just really revamping here, Big Eddie. See, I can't wait to get you out here to the studio live.
I see that. Got a lava lamp and shit. I love it.
I stole that from my kid's room. Don't tell her.
Oh.
But we got a lot of things happen. Maybe the professional educator, maybe that becomes the first all three of us back in the same room. I don't know.
Ooh.
That might be scary.
Yeah, there could be some mayhem. Fuck that guy on the Allstate commercial. That three of us, there'd be some mayhem right there.
All right, let's get some refills here because we got to get ready. I met this cat. Man, I want to tell you, our paths in and out. But officially, we met at either, I think it was VooDoo Underground 2 years ago now. And then the follow-up to that event, VooDoo Bash. And, I thought this guy was working the event, but by the time it was done, he was partying like rock stars right alongside us, man. It was just awesome. Taking pictures in front of the Step and Repeat with some of the chefs and celebs. Guy really knows how to throw down. And, that was our initiation. And then I saw him on the parade routes. And, when you see somebody out of character, it takes a minute to register and focus. And I'm just like, oh, what's up, dude? And it's just been a great relationship ever since. And I am super excited to bring in today Mr. Gene Siudut. Gene, what is going on, my man?
How are you? I'm complimenting your Jack with a little Johnny on my own.
Good. Two good friends, man. Two good
Very
friends.
nice.
But I saw you in the green room as I was talking about how we became acquainted. You shaking your head and
yeah, it was the VooDoo Bash, and I think you had two, and then you also had the hamburger cook-off. So,
right.
I don't know what the title of that was. Right, yeah, VooDoo Underground. So yeah, there were great events at the Cuban Club, which is where they were held, and don't sell yourself short. I mean, you do a lot of good work in the community for the kids, and the newspaper I work for, we did a feature on you, which I encourage people. I'll send it over to you so they can get a good read of it. But you do a lot of good work in the community, so we certainly appreciate you.
Dude,
if you don't mind,
we got the kettle calling the pot black here, homie. Because you sent me over a short little list, which is like not a short little list, and
it was bulleted.
But you do so much service. You do so much service. I do the foundation, and I get to hang. We say we do the VooDoo Chef Foundation. Basically, I get to hang out with a lot of my friends, and we try to raise some money to give back to kiddos. But dude, let me just highlight some of Gene's current service, okay? President of the Lions Club in Ybor City, charter member and treasurer of the Kiwanis Club in Ybor City, the director of Circulo Cubana de Tampa Board of Directors. I don't know what the fuck that is, but it just sounds important, dude.
It all sounds better on paper.
And then you go to past service, chairman of this, vice president, Ybor City Development Corp, board member of YCDC. When you letter it there, it sounds, but obviously that's Ybor City, chairman, Ybor City Retail, Cuban Club Foundation volunteer, Ybor City Roundtable volunteer. Dude, if it's Ybor City, let's just change the name right now to Gene Siudut, man.
Well, it'll be nice, but I probably have to go through a committee or two for that.
Well, fuck, you're on every single one of them.
Well, I've been working in Ybor since 1999. I moved here when I was 26 from New Jersey, and Ybor is just sort of in my blood. The newspaper, like I said, it's in it. So I was never that way. Never really cared about volunteering or anything. But my boss's mother, who passed away recently, she was really involved in the Lions Club, and she was an older lady, and just when she had free time, she gave it. And it was just a really good example. And every once in a while, I would see her doing something, I would want to help her out. And she sort of instilled it into me to try to go out and, pay it forward, whatever that means. You don't have to have a lot to pay it forward. Just understand that no matter what, unless you're the worst man in the world, there's somebody who's doing worse than you. So you can always help somebody. But I don't want to sound like the most altruistic guy in the world. I do a lot of volunteering, but I also got a lot of time for myself.
Well, one of my favorite quotes is from Paul Stanley. He says, when you've gotten to a point that you have enough in your life, it's time to give back. And I think, we all reach that point at some point where we just realize it's time to do for others. And that's what really leaves our mark. And I say all these Ybor City things, but you were very adamant that, I said the podcast starts at 8, and you're like, well, dude, that should work out good. I go, well, you don't really come in until 8:15. You're like, perfect. Because I coach basketball and I do youth leagues down at the Y. And it's important to me to give back and hopefully have these skills impact these young men. Dude, it just doesn't stop, man. And that hit home with me more than any of the other things we do, man. Hats off to you. Just giving back to the community and helping change, make that change, being the change. Man,
I appreciate that. It's an overused phrase, but it takes a village. You like to try to be at least one. You want to be a positive role model in somebody's life. You want to be one more piece of that chain. You have a choice if you're going to be positive or negative. Choose to be positive. So, I enjoy it, so I get something out of it too.
I got a funny story about your cliche there, whatever the fuck the right word is. It takes a village, right? I'm in a national training, and I'm over in California, Mount Diablo, and like that's not enough, right? Here I am at this training, and we're doing a lesson called "It Takes a Village," and the intro hook, whatever, in the education aspect is, it takes a village to raise a child. What does that mean to you? And who do they call to get up and model this lesson for the first time, right? If I didn't just get done watching that movie with Simple Jack, what's it called, Ed?
Tropic Thunder?
Yep. If I didn't just get done watching Tropic Thunder, and all I got in my head is the village idiot, If I don't get up and say it takes a village to raise an idiot, and everybody in this group is like, dude, I got
nice job.
like this big, man. And I said, you can't even explain your way out of that one, man. Can't even
Way to read the room.
Yep. I'll just see myself out.
That's funny.
All right.
Go ahead. I wanted to touch on something that you said while I was in the green room. The guy you invited to that concert. There was a rule. If somebody you didn't make that guy go to concert. If you invite somebody and they say yes, they're almost obligated to be next to you. That guy should have been next to you up front. Thank you for the tickets. Can I get you a drink? You don't go off and play pool. He's buying your drinks. There's so many different etiquettes that were breached there, but just the fact of just unappreciative. Like, I'm going to go play pool while you're going to go up front. Like, who does that?
An asshole. Sorry. Sorry, we just got to call it like it is, right? And if you're just now checking in, we're sitting here talking with Gene Siudut, the assistant editor for La Gaceta newspaper, and what a fabulous. We got applause for something, man. I don't know what you're doing. You said something, and you got clappy clap, man. But if you're just checking in, let us know where you're checking in from. More importantly, what you're drinking. We got some Johnny and Jack in the room, and H is drinking. Big Eddie C is drinking a little time-release water over there. He's drinking. Is that Zephyr Hills?
Yeah, it is. Nice job on the colors.
An episode where they showed what hose that came out of.
Yeah, I'm under no delusions what's in that bottle. Yeah.
Me either, man. But I still buy the damn bottles, right?
That's right.
Gene, let's talk about first. We'll come back to how we met in the Cuban Club in a minute, but let's talk about the newspaper. La Gaceta, founded in 1922 by a cigar factory lector, back in the day, these are the guys that would stand up and talk so that the cigar workers wouldn't get bored and doze off, right? And
correct.
And he founded the newspaper. The stories I heard was that they read the newspaper. So this guy went and just created his own newspaper?
Well, what happened was there was a lot of tension between the cigar factory owners and the lectors. The lectors were the educated people. They would read, La Prensa, which was a big newspaper then, or whatever the news of the day was, or they would have a book that they would read, like Don Quixote or something. And but they would give these ideas to them about whether it was organizing labor, things like that. Conditions were really poor in a lot of the factories. So there was a cigar worker strike, and the factory owners basically decided to get rid of the lectors. They thought that was who was the rabble rousers and trying to cause all the problems. So once that happened, Victoriano Manteiga, who founded the paper, started his own daily gossip paper, and a lot of it had to do with conditions of the workplace, and also dealt with a lot of politics and things going on in Cuba. It was a daily Spanish paper at the time, he was a very highly respected member of the community, and that gave him an even bigger voice. So they got what they wanted by getting rid of the lectors, but it really backfired on them because they actually ended up unionizing and gave the lectors even more power. It's like when he struck down Ben Kenobi, he became even more powerful.
Now, had they just, put the lectors in their back pocket, they could have. They could have fed these guys whatever dogma they wanted, right?
They could have. Well, at least you would hope that the ones that had integrity wouldn't have been able to been bought. But I can only speak to what actually did happen. So, but you would think that certainly you could get a message across. But they could have got a better message across by giving them better conditions. They had to do it eventually anyway. So,
and you used the term gossip paper.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when we hear gossip paper today, we're TMZ, tabloids.
Yeah,
that wasn't what you were.
So
alluding to, correct?
No. Well, what I'm trying to separate is between, what I heard versus what is fact. We hear, our newspaper is a weekly paper, and we certainly report on some hard news, meaning, who, what, when, where, how. But because we're weekly, we're not breaking a lot of news. So it's a lot of commentary, and we hear a lot of things. And sometimes people plant things with us. So there's things out there. If we say we heard it, we heard it. So Patrick's column, the main column of the paper, is called As We Heard It. And a lot of the little snippets say we hear. But when he says we hear, trust that happened. So, but there's a lot of unnamed sources out there.
Now Patrick is the gentleman that runs the paper now, and he's actually the grandson of the founder. True?
Correct. Victoriano Mantega founded it. Around the 1950s, his son Roland Mantega took it over as the publisher, and he was certainly quite a character himself and a prominent person in the community. He's known for, he had this Cesar Romero mustache and polished white suit and shoes. And if you were going to run for office in Tampa, you went through him. He had a table at La Tropicana in the back, a little red phone on the table, and that was going to be, he might not get you elected, but he sure can stop you from getting elected. So it was certainly a person to go through. But he had a big heart and a good conscience, and really cared about the community. So around 1989, I think, is when the reins got handed over to Patrick. So it's in the third in the generation, or third in the family to run the
Now, does Patrick have a table and a red phone too?
Well, he had the table for a while. Tropicana actually was sold. The table still exists. It's actually at the Cuban Club right now, and looking for a home for it. Probably belongs in a museum, but if he finds a place where he can set up shop, I think he might do that. But it certainly is a legendary
square, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay, good. I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
All right, so you're obviously a very influential paper. It was originally just in Spanish, but you eventually went to be a trilingual newspaper, hitting English, Spanish, and Italian. And for all intent and what we know, the only trilingual paper in the nation, correct?
As far as we know. And they're not translations of each other. There's items in each. Italian is really more of entertainment, and it bisects the paper. I would say it's probably 47% English, 47% Spanish, and 6% Italian, if that's how the math works.
So it's not like in the school system where we got this side in English and this side in Spanish. No. It's different. No, that's pretty badass, dude.
Yeah, and what happened was they introduced English into the paper in the 50s. The story was, it's not true, but the story was that when Castro turned to communism, it became a very unfashionable thing to be Spanish only and wanted to have English readers. Of course, they brought English in the 50s, which was quite a while from Castro becoming communist. And then Italian was introduced because we had English and Spanish, and people in the Italian community said, hey, well, what about us? So you get language, and you get a language, and you get a language.
You offered them. I love it.
Nice.
That's all. That was good, man. That was good. So you guys do a lot of local pieces too, a lot of just local highlights, and that's awesome. You have done some pieces on some of the culinary programs around town, and much love for that. You cover the big parades, and I mentioned meeting you on the parade. I think you guys caught one of the rare shots of me holding on to one of them big stogies, which I do so very rarely. But man, you got to on the parade, right? It's just what you got to do. And Captain Ebor, I mean, how many cigar shops do you hit? Because I noticed one of your little to-dos was you're involved with cigars for vets.
Well, that was something I was a volunteer for. And when they ask, I do it. It's not something. It's a constant thing. Cigars for Soldiers is an organization that is exactly what it says. They gather cigars and they send them over to vets overseas. So whenever they look for volunteers, they'll set up a table somewhere. Whenever there's an outdoor festival, whether it's Fiesta Day or Cigar Festival, you'll see a booth there. So people have the option of either actually buying cigars and giving them, or donating money, which will pay for cigars, which will go to vets. So guys are going to go out there, put their lives on the line. The least you can do is give them a cigar.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, what's your favorite? Do you smoke cigars?
I do. My favorite shop is probably Long Ash. Long Ash, we had a good relationship with. The owner is on the board now of the Cuban Club. I was a big fan of King Corona, not that I'm not anymore. When I came down here looking for apartments back in 1999, Don Barco, who passed a few years ago, basically talked my friend and I, who were both moving down, into moving here. Just sold us on the area. I remember we came into Ybor and didn't really know anything about it, but we went to the Chamber of Commerce and said, I need to get a haircut, something to eat, and get something to drink. And they said, well, go over to King Corona. You can do all three, because they had a barbershop inside there at the time. So it was a nice little deal. But Don has passed since. But I'm a big fan of Long Ash. As far as a brand, I don't know that I have anything I'm married to. Most of the time it's what somebody gives me, because I get so many that people hand. But if I can find something good and local, I'll stick with it. They make great hand rolled cigars at Long Ash, so I would recommend them if you're looking for a recommendation.
Well, I'm definitely going to check that out, because if anybody's going to know it, it's you. You work right down there, and you're there every day. So yeah. Big festivities going on with the paper. Where can we find the paper before we move on? Where can people get La Gaceta?
Well, locally, you could certainly find it at where you would find anything at grocery store. Wawa has us. We have boxes all over town. We certainly have a larger concentration in Ybor, downtown in West Tampa. But you can find us, like I said, pretty much every Wawa we're at. We actually have retail locations from Citrus County all the way down to Lee.
Holy moly.
But our largest concentration is here in Hillsborough County. A lot of newspapers are sort of going the way of the dodo, but we're increasing our footprint. We're a niche paper, so if you're not getting us for the weather, you're getting us to find out what we think about what's going on inside politics in the city. So that's our value.
Now, with that big spread into the other counties, do you do regional news outside of here in those papers, or do you stay focused on us?
We will. It'll be a little smaller. Like, we're in Orange County, so we'll have an Orange County page where we'll put things going on in there. We try to make it as important we can for each of the areas. And a lot of our news is also about the state of Florida. So, within state government, so it's still relevant to them. We try not to just throw it out there. It's not like a free paper where you put it like in a laundromat. People subscribe to it and they buy it. So we try to have a value that people would want the paper.
Now we stay away from politics, but I got to ask you one political question, okay?
Okay.
And I heard this today, so just bear with me here. I heard that the governor race, and I don't know shit about politics, okay? I heard that the governor race for Florida is happening again soon. That should tell you how much I don't know about politics.
Yes.
Because I could not even define soon. And I heard that there's a possibility that Charlie Crist may be running against Ron DeSantis. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate Charlie Crist's tan?
Well, that's a good question. Let's say 1 is me right now, and 10's George Hamilton. I'm gonna go. He's a good solid 8.5, 9.
I would agree.
Right.
I would agree. Rock star.
Yeah. He's always. If there was a such thing as a tailored tan, he's got it.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to know where he goes to get that, because it is probably just a couple shades light of George Hamilton, and that was a great analogy right there. All right, so let's hit some big deals here because you got the 100th anniversary coming up and a documentary. Give us all the dirt, all the deets, and where we're going to be able to what's going to be special with the 100th. Let's talk about that first.
Well, we've been doing probably since the 75th anniversary special editions on every 5 years. 100th, of course, is a significant thing here. I don't know that we get to 200, but 100 is just a really significant. Yeah, let's hope so. But if I'm still around to see it, somebody go get some garlic and a steak because probably shouldn't be around. Yeah. So I mean, we're just really proud of that achievement. It shows that we've had the support of the community, and that we've been involved in the community, and we want to share that with the community. I think it's a birthday for us, but it's a birthday for all the people who have been there with us. And we in a time, like I was saying before, when a lot of newspapers are going bad, I think we're still going pretty strong. And what a better local thing for Ybor than a local little newspaper that's going to probably outlast every other newspaper in the state.
That's pretty amazing, and that's coming up on July 1. I'm going to say I'm going to petition right now that we push that back to July 4, and we get Mayor Jane Castor. I know you're listening. I know you're a VooDoo. We get her to push that celebration along with the city celebration of July 4 and blow it up big time. Make it twice as big.
We'll see if she'll do that.
Jane, I know you've been at the VooDoo Celebrity Cook-Offs. Bless you, Big Eddie C. We've done events together. We need to make that happen for this little paper that is so big.
So and then as far as the documentary, Lynn Marvin, I don't know if you know who she is. She produced the documentary on Goody Goody. She did the one on the JFK visit here. She's done a couple that have been very well received. She did one on wrestling at the Armory, wrestling in Tampa. So she's going to be putting the documentary together, and we expect that to come out probably in the fall, maybe early winter. And we're greatly looking forward to that. So there's a lot on the horizon for us, and so we're still a little paper, so we still have to do all our regular things along with preparing for this 100. But the
grind never stops, Gene. The grind never stops.
Right. And if you don't mind, let me go back to something Eddie was saying as far as the raise, just to give you some talking points.
You got him, Ed.
So where they are with that is that the raise proposal is that they play 50% of the games in Tampa, 50% of the games in Montreal. So what they want to do is they want to get a smaller stadium built, which would probably be where K-Force is on Palm Avenue, which is between, right down the street from the Cuban Club. And that's the plan right now. It would probably be somewhere around a 25,000 seat stadium. And what the Rays are saying publicly is it's half a season or no season. There are some people who argue that might not happen. And like, Eddie said, if you don't want to see making the sausage, there's really not a whole lot of making it right now. They're just sort of, that's the plan that they've handed out. We'll see how far that goes. There's a lot of people who will say they don't want to give $1 to a stadium, and there's some people who want to fund it. So I think the question is, would you give $1 to keep the race? I would. So the question is, how many dollars would you give? So do I want to pay for a full stadium? No, but there's a number there that they can get.
So Gene, would you pay for $1 for the Rays for only half the time?
Well, here's the issue. As a Mets fan, it doesn't bother me too bad. But I will say that if it was half or none, I would take half. I hate to say that, but I'd hate to lose a team because I think once you lose it, you don't get it back. For those reasons. Now, maybe that's me being naive, but the area hasn't really supported them as far as attendance. Now, whether that's a bad stadium or not, there's a lot of bad stadiums around the country. And the Rays have put a great product on the field, and they can't get people in that stadium. I don't understand it.
So I don't do baseball. All right. I do baseball because somebody invites me to a game. All right. But with that said, hockey sells out. The Bucks had a couple drips in the season. You can say Tom's why we sell out. I'd say Gronk. But we're back up in seat sales there. There's so many baseball fans in Tampa. Now, are you telling me that we have so many fans that still root for their home teams, and that's the only reason they go to the games? That we're not.
I think that's exactly it. I think that's a lot of it. I think that hockey, unless you're in Canada, hockey isn't really handed down father to son. And in football, you have some areas where if you're in Chicago, you're probably a Bears fan, and if you're in Green Bay, you're probably a Packers fan. Football in Florida, half the people here were Miami fans, and a lot of them still are. But baseball is one of those things where your dad was a Yankees fan, and his dad was a Yankees fan, and his dad was a Yankees fan, or a Cubs fan, whatever those things are. And the throwing the ball in the back court with your dad. There's this familial thing that I think happened with baseball, where it gets handed down generation to generation. And it's when teams like, I remember when the Red Sox won the World Series, and there were guys like crying about it, not so much because they won, but because they were thinking about their dads never saw that. And it was one thing they wanted. So there's this really personal thing about baseball. And because there's so many games, it's not that event like a football. Football, you're going to go, it's a party. Whether the team wins or loses, you want them to win, but whether they win or lose, you're still going to the party. Baseball is not really that. You're going there you're going to sit there with somebody, you're going to watch a team, you're focused on the game. It's not the sideshow that a lot of other sports have. Football's got a whole lot going on, and it's a constant thing. Baseball, you got to sit through it. And if you put in that time, like me as a Mets fan, we haven't won since when I say we, the Mets haven't won since 1986, the World Series. So I've been killing myself for years just praying for a winner. And it's already time served. I can't change now. Otherwise I just wasted it all. Now I want the Rays to win, but.
Hey, Gene, this just in. La Gaceta will hit the 200th anniversary before the Mets win.
Hang on, being told.
Being told, that's right. We heard.
Yeah. And in other news, the sun's going to rise tomorrow.
I don't know a damn thing about baseball, like I said, other than if someone asks me to go, I'm going to go because I know I'm going to get a warm beer and some peanuts and be happy. The last game I bought a ticket to, I bought the ticket because Joan Jett was playing in concert after the event. But I don't think I would be happy being, a part-time city for baseball. I mean, we have that with the Yankees, don't we?
You got that for preseason, and it's great that they have that. It's good for the economy, but I don't think they're speaking to you. I think they're speaking to the person who's going to go to 10 games, and that's why they're going to have a lower capacity. I think their gamble is there's a good dense amount of people in downtown and Ybor and the surrounding area where they're building a lot, and they're going to give them something to do that they can walk to, and they're banking that they're going to get 10,000 people, and I think they're happy if they get those 10,000, and if they have a good product, they get people from outside the area to drive in. I don't think they're thinking they're going to all the time. They just want they want the person who's going to go to a bunch of games, and they're hoping you go every once in a while because maybe you have a good time, but they're not speaking to you. They're speaking to the person who's going to go to.
Well, I'm going to tell you, if they put it right there at K-Force, I'm all over it because our new culinary program is like 3 blocks away, and right there in Ybor City, which is going to be amazing.
Yeah, and they put a good product on the field for not a lot of money. It's you get good bang for your buck with the Rays.
I don't see how they could do any time in Montreal simply because then you have to create a 2-tiered pay structure because living in Quebec, you got to pay that 15% VAT on top of everything. And I know I thought he was crazy when he said it, but Commissioner Dingfelder said it's fine. We build an open air stadium because they won't play in it in the rainy times anyway. And I think a lot of it is bluster. I really do. I think them being here a full season is on the table if they get the right stadium, the right corporate support, everything, all the stars align. I mean, are we using Montreal? So, if you want sympathy for them, go look in the dictionary.
It's a fair point, and I think some of it is bluster, because if somebody came along and said, "I'll buy you a stadium," the team stays here no matter what. And not just the pay structure. Are you going to have two stadiums with the same exact dimensions? Are you going to make your home team all of a sudden be an away team for the second half of the season, having to learn a new stadium? When it comes to the playoffs, are you going to play in two places? There's a lot of weird things that I think haven't been fully thought out. The only time I can remember something like this, other than this season in football, when they had, I think the Saints were playing in Jacksonville. Montreal played, I think, 21 games in Puerto Rico. There was, I forget what I don't know if the Olympics or something was going on in Montreal. So they played in Puerto Rico. And so it was split games, and people in Puerto Rico went, but they went because it was a new novelty. What else were they going to do? So, I would lean towards, I think they would still end up being full here. I don't see the split season happening, but the Rays are saying it will. So
is it posturing?
I'm sure everything's posturing right now, because the conversations aren't happening in inside chambers. They're happening in the news. They're happening, in the public whether it's Tiger Bay or
but Gene,
reporters.
Gene, what have we heard?
We've heard exactly what I said. That's what they're putting out there. So that's what they're saying. But these conversations aren't really happening behind closed doors yet, because there's no official proposal. There's no stadium plan. None of this is happening. It's all conjecture right now.
Who paid for Ray J? We did.
Yeah.
Why is that not going to happen for the Rays? I think it's going to happen.
Because you'll never see 100% stadium paid for by the public. I don't think you'll see that again in America, but especially not here. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers have such a sweetheart deal. But not only is there no sales tax on the stadium, the public owns it, but the Buccaneers get all the parking, no matter what the event is. They get concession. The Bucks they have their hand in every till when it comes to what goes on over at Raymond James Stadium. So, I don't know why we're paying the Bucks when there's a concert there. And the stadium deal is that everything there has to stay state of the art throughout the duration of the 30 years of the contract. So you'll notice every 5 years there's new TVs everywhere. There's new seats. It's a constant, and the taxpayers are on the hook for that. So you didn't just pay for it once; you're paying for it now and forever, as long as that stadium's there. But the deal does run out, I think, in 6 or 7 years. It's coming up.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see what happens with that stadium.
The Bucks are going to move to Montreal.
Well, they'll do. Did they threaten to move to Oakland before? Oakland's looking for a team. Maybe they'll go back out.
We'll see you guys.
Well, I think it was brought up before when people bark and hoot about no tax money. It's like, dude, to the best of my dinky beanie little brain's knowledge, there are only, let's get up there, 2 stadiums that I can think of that have been built by just the ownership, the Dallas and the Atlanta ones. Everything else for every other major sport, whether it be NBA, NHL, NFL, MLB, they've all been done with some sort of public-private partnership, whether you sell bonds, you pull from tourist taxes, all of that stuff. So it's like, be sensible and be realistic. And don't try to quote these studies that say that teams don't have an impact. Yeah, they do. They do. It's really difficult to quantify everything that it tentacles out into, whether it be hotels or local businesses, all that stuff. I think there's a lot that goes on people either don't know about or don't want to admit. Chances are we probably will build some sort of a stadium, and it doesn't get paid for all at once anyway. The cost of it gets spread out over a couple of decades, at least in the public contribution. The owners, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, you brought up a good point about that partnership. So if the Rays were to come to the city of Tampa or Hillsborough County and said, look, we want you to build the stadium. Every event that happens in the stadium is yours, and you're a 10% partner in the team. I'll take that every day.
Yeah.
Because that we're getting a return on the investment along with whatever comes outside of that. Because some of those dollars are going to Hilton, and they're going to it's a trickle down, right? So it actually does happen. So they're employing people, but they were employing people before that. There's really no such thing as a job creator, right? Like you employ what you need. Nobody's hiring extra people because they want to give out jobs. So those people are there, but it certainly helps pay those bills. But if they wanted to make a partner of the city of Tampa, I can't think of anyone who would say, sure, because the team's not going to lose money. Give us a piece, and we'll build it right now.
Yeah, do you really think that would happen?
It'll never happen because baseball wouldn't allow it. But that would be the way to get it done. That should be the model.
That would be a precedent that would just like destroy everything.
It tells you how much money they're making because they won't do it, and it makes sense.
Doesn't that put? Aren't they a monopoly? Isn't that against the law?
Well, they're not a monopoly because it's their league, right? It's not a public service; it's entertainment.
We'll get into a whole different conversation if we start going down that track. Hey, one thing we wanted to do. Cuban Club has some great events. One of the great events it has is VooDoo Bash. We're going on 3 years. We just booked you guys for VooDoo Bash. Oh, God, don't quote me on this. It's September something. We just hung out the other day. We booked VooDoo Underground. We booked VooDoo Bash. And we're getting ready to blow it up again in Ybor City. One thing we wanted to do today was talk about our top 3 concerts or events that we've been to in Ybor City. You got the note, right, Gene? You got that note?
I saw the itinerary, so I'll let you go first, but I'll tell you my 3.
All right, we're going to start with number 3. We'll go around the horn, 2, and then 1. We'll start with Big Eddie C. We'll give you some time to think. Gene, Big Eddie C, your number 3 concert/event, Ybor City.
Dude, this was rough. I got to tell you, I've been to a lot of shows since I moved here in '87. Back when Ybor didn't have a whole lot going on. I mean, it's rough. But since I had to narrow it down and pick 3, number 3, I think it was in about 91. I don't. On the corner there, 7th and 15th. I don't even remember. It's been Ritz and Masquerade and then back and forth.
Yeah.
I think it was Masquerade when I went and saw this in 91. Was the original on their first album tour by Pantera. One of the most vicious things I've ever seen. They hit the stage and it was violence, man. It was
you're a lucky man.
It was vicious. I mean, they came right out and it was a tornado of just sound, man. I mean, I knew they were going to be good, but I was not prepared for that. They were heavy and clean and just moving. Nobody was standing there. I mean, they were just tornadoes.
Man, I wish we were pals back then because that would have been awesome.
Yeah, I don't even remember, I don't remember who opened. No idea. I know it was somebody decent, but hard to remember.
First time I saw Pantera was at the State Fairgrounds, the little side shit.
Oh, yeah.
They opened for Skid Row, and they blew my mind, man. It was just absolutely insane. I mean, I may not have been a little scared that day because it was just that insane. And to see them at the Ritz, Masquerade, whatever the fuck it was at the time, that would have been freaking awesome, dude.
It was.
My number 2.
I saw a lot of shows in Ybor over the time. I mean,
well, I'm hoping that we get down to some of those number ones. My number 3, Maria and I went to see Cheap Trick, same venue, and
really? Okay.
and she's not one to go down in the pit, and at that club it's all pit. But normally we would stay off to the side, but she digs Cheap Trick, so we went down in the middle and just hung out. Man, just an amazing show, as always with Cheap Trick. But that's my number 3 show in Ybor City.
I saw them twice. I got to jump in here. I saw them twice in Ybor, but never there. I saw them at what used to be Killian's over there on 8th. And then I saw them, I don't remember if it was before or after. I think it was after at Frankie's Patio.
Still, 2 amazing venues to see.
Yeah, it was great. They never put on a bad show. That's why they're in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
That's it. Gene, number 3.
All right, so my number 3 was, I want to say 10 years ago at the Ritz, was a band out of Philly called G Love and Special Sauce. Don't know if you're familiar with them.
Jam band kind of stuff, yeah.
Yeah, they're real funky. The memorable part of it was went there with my buddy Paul Guzzo, who writes for the Times. We moved down here together from Jersey. We knew G Love with that band from when we lived up there. And so we go to the concert, and they had this stupid thing where like they were giving out shots. You rolled dice on like the waitress's thing.
That.
Well, what they did was you got a shot if you got a certain number, but they let you keep the shot glass. So I got a shot glass. It's like this thin glass thing, and I put it in my back pocket. I'm not going to carry it around. I don't know why I was keeping it. Like I needed to do shots later with it. So we go up to the front. We're watching the show. And as we're going to leave, they have a ramp, and it's all wet. And as I'm going up the ramp, I end up slipping on it and fall on my ass. Oh. And I realized, like, I'm bleeding pretty bad. Like, it cut. I go into the bathroom, and I pull my pants down, and I got blood pouring out of me. Like, I got to go. Like, it's bad. I'm bleeding out. So they call an ambulance for me. Like, it was bad. Like, I remember, but this is how good my friends are. They had me on a stretcher pulling me out, like the poor person who had to put put whatever on my ass to stop it from bleeding. But I was in and out of consciousness. I ended up peeing myself on this stretcher, and my buddy Paul, as they're wheeling me out, is laughing at me, yelling, "He peed himself!" So, this is the kind of friends I have.
At least he didn't leave you there all night, man, sleeping in your
No. He watched me get into the ambulance when they put me on the stretcher. So that was my third most memorable.
That's hysterical. And again, I got to ask, what the hell do you need with a shot glass? It was empty at that point.
Yeah, there was all kind of bad decisions made that night.
All right, I'll go with my number 2. My number 2, I got to say it, not the first time, not the last time. Ace Frehley, Ybor City. It was just such a great night. Not that night, different night. It wasn't that night. It was a different night. Just a great night. And I'll leave it right there because as I lead into my number 1, it'll make even more sense. Gene, your number 2.
My number 2 was at the Cuban Club. We had a band called Alabama Shakes there. They are. It's not. Yeah, I mean they're a good band. Brittany Howard's the lead singer. They were very good. The reason it was so memorable, I mean, the band's great, but it was the first time I'd seen the real potential of that space. So the Cuban Club patio, when you combine it with the next door area, holds about 4,700 people, and they used every single square into that space to fill people in. And just to look at that place full and Ybor that alive of that many people watching this big show. I think they had just won 2 Grammy Awards. It was just really incredible. The sound was great. It was just a great vibe for Ybor, great thing for the Cuban Club. And we use those pictures as a selling point still today. Like, this is what the potential is. It's a large mid-sized venue in the area. We're bigger than Janice Landing. Wow. It was just really, really impressive to see what the Cuban Club can do when it all works.
Is that the photo that's in the office?
Yeah.
Oh, God, just a great shot.
Yeah.
Great shot. Big Eddie C. And I must say, just so you know, my number 2, same venue, the Ritz Theater, which is, just crazy. And the patio, just an amazing event space. And I think we're going to be taking that over for VooDoo Bash as well. Not for a concert, but for different purposes. Our concerts are going to be inside. Big Eddie C, you're number 2, my friend.
I'm looking it up now because the not the show, but
all the stats.
Well, it was where the hell I was at because
you were in Ybor.
Well, no shit. I want to say it's what the hell is that street?
7.
So it was on 7th. I think Masquerade was down at the other end. It's kind of, I want to say it was like where Bernini's was. What's that?
You're talking about Crowbar?
It might be that now. I'm not sure.
Crowbar's across from Bernini. It's a little inside.
It's on the same side of the road as Bernini. I think it's it might be trying to see which corner it's on. It's not on.
Who the hell was it?
It was
Ryan's Rebels.
Oh no! Fuck no! It was a band called Manitoba's Wild Kingdom. Now, you got to know your music, because if you don't know your music, Gene might know this because I'm going to give him credit for being in New Jersey, okay? There was a band in the mid to late 70s. These guys were like one of the proto-fathers of punk called the Dictators. And Handsome Dick Manitoba was the lead singer of that, and his original guitar player, who was also in Manitoba's Wild Kingdom with him, was a guy named Ross Friedman. Ross Friedman was also better known as Ross the Boss, the original guitar player for Manowar, whom you guys can see is on my arm. So there was literally maybe 50 people in the place, and that might be generous, okay? It didn't matter. Handsome Dick came out, and they tore ass, man. They only had the one album with The Party Starts Now on it, and I brought my cassette, so afterwards I go and I find Handsome Dick Manitoba. He's a true New York character. This fucking guy has lived for most of his life above his mom's pizza shop out in Brooklyn. And I went up to him and I said, "Excuse me, sir, can you sign my cassette?" I'm only like 19 or 20 at this time. He looks at me, he says, "Sir, I ain't your fucking dad." And he signs it anyway. I give him a pen, but he was just cool as shit. They were fun as hell to see. And it's one of those shows that people that were around here and around music, if they were there, they remember, but you could count them damn near on one hand.
All right, Eddie C, I got a couple comments on this, okay? Number one, for all you millennials out there, and let's just be clear, I don't understand millennials, and what I mean by that is I fucking hate millennials. A cassette is an item we used to listen to music on. Number one. Yes. Number two, Eddie C, how you pull this shit out of your brain, I don't fucking know. I want you to turn the camera so we can see the CSI fucking app with the yarn connecting all these musical acts with their pictures that you did beforehand.
Listen, man, this is all you need to know. Remember, there used to be a channel that was cool called MTV. And that channel used to have a show on there called Headbangers Ball. This is how I know all this shit, because that's all I fucking did was watch MTV for years.
Dude, I know you, but for everybody out there, they're out there going, this guy's like fucking Dexter. He's got to have this shit somewhere, man. All right. What? I don't even know what the fuck number we're on.
Well, I was on 2.
So we're on number 1. Gene, go.
We're on number 1.
All right. Well, let me just give a little shout out to Headbangers Ball, which was how we
keeping track.
Yeah. So Headbangers Ball was where like I first found out about like Jane's Addiction and the Pixies, even though that wasn't headbanging. That was where I found out about like Stone Temple Pilots. First time I ever heard them was on Headbangers Ball.
Sure.
And that's not to mention all the other actual metal bands. So my my most memorable show in Ybor was it was during Guavaween, back when Guavaween was Guavaween in Ybor. It was my first Guavaween here, which was in 1999, and a lot of people don't know this. Ybor used to close the streets on Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. When you came to Ybor, it was just a big, carnival. The streets were closed. People were walking down the street, pushing gurneys, selling stuff, selling beer in the streets. It was just a free for all. And when they had Guavaween, which was the big Halloween thing, they closed all of Ybor down and would build a stage all the way down the end of the street. And it was just a huge festival. They get 15,000 people out there. And I remember the first one that I was there for was 311, which 311. Was a really big fan of their older stuff. I'm sorry, of their newer stuff, but at the time they were still pretty good. I'm not saying they're not still good. Maybe they're still good. I don't listen to them anymore because I haven't heard anything new from them. But back then, 311 was great. And I just remember thinking wow, this is just a cool little thing, because Ybor was just this little Spanish Quarter with tons of people, closed streets. It felt like they were giving us a private concert, around 15,000 of our best friends. And it was just a really memorable thing, again, to show the potential of Ybor. But it was just a really cool thing that Ybor used to be. And I don't know that those days will ever come back, because I think they're trying to shift it over to Curtis Hickson. But at that moment, Ybor was a really cool concert, just cool vibe place. So that was my most memorable one.
They definitely need to bring back Guavaween, man. They definitely need to bring that back. Big Eddie C, you're number one.
This was rough, man, and I couldn't decide. So it's like a number one. One of them was you. No, you keep pointing at your finger.
All right, go ahead. You're number one.
Ty, Guavaween in, I don't know, 96 or so, 97. Typo negative. That's one of them. The other was at the new Masquerade, Ghost.
Oh,
hellacious show, man.
When was that?
I want to say about 5 or 6 years ago. I'd have to go find the shirt. I forgot.
Was that before they opened for Maiden or after?
It was before.
Man, that would have been hot, man.
It was quite the show, man. I got to tell you, that was their first major tour where they were headliners, and it was like they had something to prove. Everything just worked, man. It was great.
Man, that would have been an awesome show. And you just, next time you go to these things, you just got to be like, dude, get off your ass. We're going. I don't care if you're tired. I don't care if you worked all week. We're fucking going.
I'm usually the one that dips out, and it's going to be, I can tell you, it's going to be a while that I can stand there for a few hours and watch a show.
Dude, I'll take you in the wheelchair. We'll get front row.
Oh, perfect. And I can sell it. All I got to do is lift up my shirt and show my scar. Shit, I ain't above it. I mean,
fucking A, dude. I'm down like a clown. I'll push you like Granny. I'm good.
No shit.
All right, my number one, Ybor City. Neither of us. My number one, Ybor City, the Ritz Theater, whatever they called it, Split Image. We opened up Ace Frehley, and we took that show for me because I'm going to tell you, I don't think we got paid a goddamn dime, but it didn't matter. We opened up for Ace Frehley, and it was just such an amazing event for me. Hanging out backstage, watching Ace from backstage, taking photos with Ace. My wife stood online at his dressing room to have some of my memorabilia autographed, and she said it was the grossest thing she's ever done in her life. Don't ever ask her to do it again. But that was, that was like dream come true. The only thing that would have been better than that would have been opening for Kiss itself. But that was just, like I said, going to see Ace Frehley, one thing, getting to open up for Ace Frehley right out of Kiss, with that first album. I mean, how can you top that? How can you top it?
Yeah.
Now that was just
Kiss opens for you.
That would have been, yeah. You win, Gene. You win. I wish I could say that we've opened for a lot of cool people. Stephen Piercy and Ugly Kid Joe, some other motherfuckers, but Ace Frehley's Ace Frehley. Nothing more you can say.
There was a crazy moment years ago. I did go to a show at Masquerade. It was a metal show. It was 4 bands. It was Dimmu Borgir, Nevermore, Children of Bodom, and Hypocrisy. And when I was watching Hypocrisy open, there was these young kids who were standing right by me, and they kept looking at me, and I didn't say anything. Finally, one of them came up to me, and they said, "Don't you teach at Chamberlain?" And I said, "Yeah." And I was nice to them, and all 4 of them had dropped out. And I remember kind of seeing them, and they were nice enough, they're just little stinky metalhead kids. And
they
kind of stayed by me because they must have thought I was going to protect them. And,
they don't know you.
Yeah. That's when I kind of was like, man, I don't know whether this is cool or it's the beginning of the end.
Mm-hmm. And the answer to that is yes.
Yeah. We had a couple of years ago at the Cuban Club, it was right around New Year's, it was a festival. It's called the FYA Festival, which we found out stood for Fuck You All. And what it was it was music that they called it hardcore. So it sounded like metal. And it was a lot of it was probably closer to death metal, but almost all of the fans, let's say 95% of the fans, didn't drink. It was mostly straight edgers, but they did this. I don't know what they call it. It's like this dancing where you throw punches, not moshing, but they actually throw punches and kicks, like they're doing like karate shit. I think it's called hardcore dancing. So,
oh my God,
there's this group of people. It's like the most loserous type of line dancing. It's like a bunch of people standing around throwing punches in the air, and if you get punched, maybe you get punched. But it's people who would probably never throw a punch in real life, but on the dance floor they're throwing punches. And it was just
throwing punches.
It was the strangest thing I've ever seen. And
tell me about that on video, Gene.
Oh, thank God we don't have videos, just for the liability. But oh my God, it was painful to watch. And it was painful for some of the people who got kicked.
That's hysterical, man. Hey, Gene, we really appreciate you coming out and playing with all our shenanigans here. But before you go, we do ask all of our guests 5 questions, just to give us a little more insight into you. We stole the shit from that theater guy, whatever his name is.
Oh yeah.
But we got to do it, and we got to ask you the questions. And I do have to warn you, be careful, because we have banned people from the podcast based on their answers.
Yes.
Okay. So
keep it a PG.
Oh no, he said Pepsi. He's fucking gone.
Oh yes, I heard it.
Who said Pepsi?
Some asshole. We banned him.
Oh.
Question number 1: what's your favorite food?
Brajol.
I can respect that.
I didn't expect that.
Yeah, my wife made it for me once. I've been dying to have it again. I think I have an anniversary coming up that I might get it again. It's such a good meat wrapped sauce. It's
good.
You don't see it a lot of places, but it is so good.
You know what? Maybe you come out to the new school in Ybor and we hook you up.
All
right. Be careful here. Be careful. This is one of those, not really a trick questions, but one of those questions. To what temperature do you cook your steak?
Well,
what done?
You mean medium rare? Medium rare.
Oh, okay. God, you scared us, homie.
Yeah. I thought you were asking me degree. Yeah, no, medium rare, of course.
Oh my God. You said well, and that was like one of those positives. I thought you were answering.
Yikes!
We got scared. You almost fell.
Yeah. No. I'm not the Antichrist.
All right. I think we know the answer to this, but bourbon or beer? And for bonus points, what's your favorite bourbon, or should I say Tennessee whiskey?
Oh well, I'm certainly a fan of Jack because as a New Jersey man, Frank Sinatra, Jack was certainly a favorite of his. So I am certainly partial to that. So
Have you
I'll give
had
you kudos.
Have you had Jack Sinatra?
I have not.
Oh my God! When I go to Big Eddie C's house, he doesn't drink, but he's got a bottle of Jack Sinatra, and when I go over, they break that out, and I got to tell you, man, it's rock star.
Good shit.
All right, I got a bucket list item now.
Oh, as you're killing that Johnny, I love it.
Yeah.
Gene, what's your favorite cuss word?
Man, there's so many.
Mine's well done.
That's two.
Pepsi. It was hyphenated.
Yeah. So I think I've really grown accustomed to twat, but I like it as twat. Yeah.
Like
I'm a big fan of twat. Cunt's always great, but it's not as acceptable in public. You can change twat to twat, and it's funny. So I'm a big fan of twat.
And people are like, "What? What'd you say?" That's pretty funny. Our last question here, and this will tell us a lot about you. And please don't rely on one of your previous answers. What is your death row meal?
All right. So my mother will probably kill me for saying this, but
spaghetti
because like all good. Well, no. But like all good Italian boys, my mother, I believe my mother made the best spaghetti sauce. But there was a gentleman who worked for La Gaceta for a while. He's passed away now. His name was Steve Vicari. And his wife made this spaghetti sauce that I was not familiar with this style, where she used a Boston butt, cooked it in the sauce, used a hard-boiled egg in there. There was just like this just different style of it. And it was the greatest tasting sauce I had ever had in my life. And I didn't need the spaghetti. You could put that sauce in a glass and I'll drink that, and that'll be my last meal.
Eddie C, you're shaking your head. Have you heard of that? I've never heard that.
Well, okay, fair disclosure. My wife's mother was born in Santo Stefano, Sicily. She used to get La Gaceta. She was a Valenti, so her history is intertwined with all the Latinos in Ybor City. Don't get my wife in here and started, because she's been working on the genealogy for ages and can tell you who's related to who and all that. But when we started dating and she and her mom would make the sauce, the hard-boiled egg was always in it. They would usually take hard-boiled eggs and sear them in olive oil first, then put them in the sauce. But as far as Boston butt, I know that made it into a sauce here and there. I think lately it's it tends to be seared and simmered spare ribs or country ribs that eventually come apart. And then, of course, there's meatballs and there's sausage and all that. So that big old, that pork that's given time to, diffuse and infuse in the sauce, hell yeah. But as soon as he said the hard-boiled eggs, I was like, I'm a believer, man. You don't need to call Michael Nesmith, baby. I'm a believer.
If you get an answer on that phone call, you let me know, because, I thought the Cuban Club was the fourth most haunted place in the United States. But if you're getting a phone call from Michael Nesmith, it's your house, dude.
No, we have a light that blinks before the laundry room here that my wife swears it's my mother-in-law pissed off about something, because it's an LED. It shouldn't do that. So she's probably pissed because Gina didn't cook something like she was supposed to. Hey,
Gene, man, closing notes. How do we find La Gaceta? Can we get it on the internet, social media? Where can we find it? Anybody that wants to hit it up.
So LaGacetaNewspaper.com is all the information you need there. If you go to our website, it's LAGACETA, LaGacetaNewspaper.com. You go there, subscription information is there, locations, all the information that you want. You can certainly go in there and call, and I'll be happy to talk to anyone who wants to find out more about it as well. But we're around. Go to our website, LaGacetaNewspaper.com. That's it. And certainly appreciate the shout out.
Dude, nothing but much love, brother. I'm glad we met some 3 years ago. I'm glad our relationship is, now that COVID's gone, coming back. We're going to be doing some badass shit at the club with La Gaceta, keeping that information flowing. Anything you need, man, hit us up, my friend.
Will do. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for the time, and I had a lot of fun doing it.
Much love. Till next time, Voodies, we will catch you out.